strong force, weak force, electromagnetism,
Come on,
gravity.
Curve, get to the point. What's the definition of
It's a mass
force?
accelerated,
I
Kimo.
did.
That's all it is. A mass
I
accelerated.
did. I've already told you.
Goodness sakes.
All
No,
you need to know, Kimo.
it's a mass that changes velocity. Not
So mass accelerating, exactly.
No, it changes its velocity. It can
Yeah, that's what accelerating means.
Is it?
Yep.
Acceleration means a change of velocity.
Oh, okay.
You learned something today, Bon Jovi.
Yeah, but that's not the definition.
learning.
Where's that definition from?
Oh, I don't care about definition. Anybody can look it up and read a definition. I'm giving you a practical application of it.
So you're just going to make up your own definition?
No, I'm not making up anything. I'm giving you an example that follows the definition, comes from it. And again, where you have acceleration, there was a force.
No, not necessarily. We can change the object.
Show me acceleration without a force.
Yeah, we can raise the egg without a force. Density. What was
But
the
you're
force?
forcing it up.
What was the force?
Buoyant force.
I can pull the table out from underneath your butt and then you fall. Where was the force?
Hold on. I didn't
Oh, wait a
control.
minute. What do you mean you can move the egg?
I didn't control the
I change it.
buoyant. I didn't control.
How are you going to change the density without, changing the density and doing something to it?
Yeah, but I didn't control curve the density, the buoyancy. I controlled the density. To change the density.
Yes, when you change the density, you're changing a variable within buoyancy.
Hold
Hold
on, Bio. So curved. I only.
No. If you're making a good point, I need you to acknowledge that I made a good point. If I'm wrong, you need to acknowledge that I'm wrong.
Bio. Why are you just jumping in like that?
Kimo, acknowledge him.
You said I changed the buoyancy. How do you know I changed the buoyancy?
Because you changed the density of the medium. That's how.
That will change the buoyancy.
What is buoyancy?
Buoyancy.
What is buoyancy curved? What's the definition of buoyancy?
Buoyancy is like currency.
Now, are you going to make this up, or are you going to come up with the actual definition?
I'm giving you the actual definition, Kimo.
Go on then, let's get the actual definition.
It's the opposite, the counterpart to girl and C.
So with this lull of silence, Kimo, am I wrong by saying when you change the density of a medium that you're changing its buoyant force?
Right,
Is that
Curve,
wrong?
can you get me the
Kimo to respond.
No, you made the claim that I changed the buoyant force. What is this buoyant force that I changed?
Right, you changed a variable within the buoyant force. Just like if we talked about changing the acceleration of something, we are changing the force, because force equals mass times acceleration. So when you're changing the density of a medium, you're changing the end result, which is buoyant forces.
So, Curved made a claim that acceleration cannot happen without a force. I demonstrated the egg moved without a force. You said there was a buoyant force. We didn't change buoyancy.
No, you didn't.
We changed
Where
density.
Did you think you demonstrated that?
Changed the density of the medium, and the egg changed direction and accelerated. Now, where is this buoyant force?
Change the buoyant force, Kimo.
Right, Kimo.
Change the
You
buoyant
understand when you
force.
change
You change the
when you
density.
right when you change one side of an equation, you realize the other side of that equation changes as well, right?
Okay, Curve, back to the practical demonstration. You said
No,
cannot have
you've
an
ignored me 3 times now,
acceleration
Kimo.
without a force. So we see the egg rising, accelerating. What force caused that to happen? Can you show me and manipulate that cause, Curved?
What did you say? What were you trying to say, Baudul?
Curved has got himself in hot water, and now you've got 2, 3, 4 people saving him.
Sorry, Kimo, you interrupted. Please, just hold on for a second.
Yeah, stop, Kimo. I am
Yeah,
buoyant.
they can
in
save
hot
you for a
water,
minute.
by the way.
We'll give you 5 minutes to save you. Go on.
Yeah, I was just curious what Baudul was trying to say. I think it was Baudul.
But I've been ignored 3 times. I'm not expecting to acknowledge or address it a 4th time and get a response.
Maybe there's a reason you're being ignored.
What's the
Because
reason,
I'm bringing
Bill?
up good points that he can't
What's the
refute,
reason?
and it goes against what
That
his
may
point
be
is.
true. I don't know.
Give us the reason. Give us the reason.
It's
No,
facts.
I'm just
You don't
I'm
pay
just pointing
attention
it
to
out.
facts.
Maybe well, they don't say that because if you don't know,
He
there's
may
one.
have you muted.
Yeah, but if you don't know there's one, then you're just making noise.
Right,
No,
and if I'm wrong, I
there's
would
a
like
reason.
for him to address how I'm wrong, and if I'm right, I would like for him to address how I'm right, and acknowledge that he's wrong because it contradicts what he's saying.
Now let's use the scientific method here. Let's see if
You don't
If
know
you
the
could get a
scientific
reaction
method,
from
Joe.
him.
What are you talking about?
yeah, it's deals in cause and
You've
effect
never used the
relationships.
scientific method in your life. Why are you trying to
Yeah.
front?
How'd I bake a cake then?
Oh, that's okay. Sure.
Okay, can we go back to
Congratulations.
the point now? Had a couple of minutes with that. So, Curved, you said
I don't know.
cannot have
I don't know if you
acceleration
can.
without a force. I've
Oh, you
demonstrated.
didn't really wait for an answer to your question, did you, Kimo? You just said it like as if you knew the answer. The answer was, I don't know. I don't know
No,
if we can do that yet.
you didn't make any claims.
Let me
We're
check.
talk-
Let me check with Bioduel. Bioduel, did you want to say your thing again or no?
Not really. Said it
Okay.
3 times. got
Okay,
it.
then we can get back to the point, Kimo.
Excellent,
The answer is
fantastic.
yes.
So, Curved, you made a wild, outrageous claim that you cannot have acceleration without a force. That's your definition of a force. So, can you demonstrate the force that was used to move the egg for it to rise?
I've already told you, you increase the buoyancy by increasing the density. That increases the upward thrust on the egg.
Okay,
The
again,
water, the salt water, with the increase in density, has more upward thrust on the egg, thrusting it upwards, displacing it by the more dense medium. What more do you want me to say, Kimo?
not more. I don't
Kimo,
want you to add
question for
more
you.
to it. I don't want you to add fairies to it if you can't manipulate fairies. You said
I'm not
buoyancy.
adding any fairies, and you manipulated
What, are
the
they
density.
goblins then? What are they?
It
Leprechauns?
may have been unicorn parts. We don't know.
Yeah,
But his parts per million thingy says
yeah.
he added density.
Yeah, we're
So
talking.
by your own little elementary school science rules,
Yeah.
you increase
took
the
away
buoyant
resistance.
force.
No,
Yeah.
you remove resistance. Like the table, if I take the resistor from your butt that's
You did
holding you,
not
you're
remove
sitting on the
any
table.
resistance.
If I
You
remove the
added
table, now you
resistance to the
fall.
water in a sense.
You were no, mine's
Increasing
different,
the
Kurt.
buoyant force, the upward thrust on the egg due to displacement by the more dense medium.
So what?
Now,
What
this
force?
question has been answered.
No, it
and
hasn't
you
been answered. It hasn't been
will
answered.
take your
If you're going to
L
make things
and
up,
move on
then
to
we
the
can just
next
make things
question.
up. We're not going to make things
Kimo,
up.
I have rolled.
You're not going to just make.
Kimo, that's it. Enough out of you.
It's not
I
a
have
curve.
rolled.
We're not at the end of
You
it.
were wrong.
You're not just make
Move
things
on.
up and then say move on because I've
So
made up
moving on.
fairies. So the
I
fact
didn't
is,
make anything up.
yeah, you have made things up. You said you've added
Moving
Tell me
fairies.
on.
what,
My
tell me what
question
was
for
wrong with what I
Kimo.
read,
Right.
Kimo.
So manipulate the buoyancy. Let's see that force.
Right. You
Moving
acknowledge
on.
that you the density increased to and the egg rose.
So
Do
curve
you acknowledge
without
that?
changing the density.
I don't know why I'm being ignored.
Without changing
Kimo,
the
I'm trying to
density.
address your
Because you're
concern right now.
interrupting, Bio. You're doing your
First of all, you
experiment.
interrupted me.
You
Let's
doing your
get that back
experiment
straight.
yet?
You
Have you done your-
interrupted me, Kimo,
have you done
because
your
I was talking
experiment?
about your experiment.
You need to learn that just stop being so obstinate about what you want to happen because
All
nobody
right,
told
fine. Have you done your experiment?
Question for Kimo. Do you have an example of a acceleration without a force?
I'm just going through it right now with curve. You need
No,
to ex-
that's incorrect, and that's already been disproven. So, do you have an
How
example
have you disproven it?
of
Where's your
a
experiment?
acceleration without a force?
Where's your experiment where you didn't change the density but you manipulated the buoyancy? Let's see that.
No, we're not covering that. We already
Right,
covered
so
that
Curve,
already.
why
So
did you
the
lie
question
and make
is-
up
the
nonsense
question
about the
is,
force?
Where is your example
Yeah.
of an acceleration without a force?
Yeah, that's fine.
Where's
so
your
Curve, why did
example?
you lie? You didn't change the buoyancy, you changed the density. Don't change the density, manipulate the buoyancy
Kimo, the
without
question
manipulating
is to
density.
you
There's only
right
one.
now. Where
only
is
one-
your example? You
only
made
one
that
variable.
claim. Go ahead and back it up.
There's only one variable, one independent variable, not buoyancy and density. You need to show that the
It's already
density
been
is the
covered,
same.
Kimo. Kimo,
You
the question
idiot.
is,
You need to
where
show the
is your
density is the
example?
same.
Where's
There
your
was
example,
another
Kimo?
question that he was dealing with at the time.
You need to show density is the same and that buoyancy is the cause of this acceleration curve.
So,
Right,
Kimo,
the
you
boy-
don't have an
The
example.
increase
Okay.
in buoyancy results from the increase in density, Kimo.
No, there's
You've been
no
told
and
this.
in independent variable. It's either one or the other.
Yeah, that's fine. The independent variable here is the density. The density of the medium is the independent variable, and that's what you manipulate. So you increase or decrease the density, and then that's going to give you the result of your dependent variable, which is the buoyancy force. So as you increase your density, you're going to have an effect on the buoyant force. What's the problem with that, Kimo?
that you don't have your experiment. Where's the vacuum and
Well,
Cavendish?
Kimo, how do you establish that it's one or the other?
Right, so let's get back to Curve. Curve.
No,
In
we're done
science,
with
we
that.
have
Kimo,
one
I'm gonna
independent
ask you this.
variable.
Where do you get
You've
this
introduced
idea that
two.
it's one or the other? That
You've
there
introduced
is no
two
rank
independent
between
variables. You said the
independent
density and the buoyancy. Now, how are you manipulating one independent variable to show the acceleration of this egg?
Kimo, why for somebody who whines all the time about trying to keep the VC pleasant, why are you just being as obnoxious as possible and derailing as much as possible? Why don't you just let other people ask questions and engage with other people's point of view and then answer what they have to say? Why do you insist on obnoxiously trying to go the way you want to go?
Well, I can explain why. So Curb jumped in the conversation out of the blue. What's the definition of force? What's force? I'm like, I've just given you that. So he made up his own definition. So then he introduced.
That's
Oh,
incorrect.
why are you interrupting me?
Because
Then-
that's
Just
incorrect.
doing what you do,
So
Kimo.
then I didn't interrupt. I let speech finish.
Plenty of time.
By the way, that was very rude of you to take that shot at me, Kimo. I didn't jump in out of the blue,
Yeah.
like disrupting anything.
Yeah. You were like, what's the definition of force? I gave that definition, and then you gave your made-up definition, and then we asked you
Oh,
about...
did you?
Yeah.
What you said? Energy.
Energy, yeah.
Energy is not a definition of force.
That's the definition. Find me another definition.
That's not
What?
the definition.
The mass
You're
accelerator.
tripping.
Well,
You're
find
tripping, my brother.
post it then. I'll post my definition. You post yours.
Yeah, post it. Post it. Let's take a look.
So in the meantime, you said that you cannot have acceleration without a force. That was your definition, and I showed you that we moved an object without a force. We just changed the density. Here's this definition. Force, like US force. Let's find your made-up version.
Here you go. Wikipedia, the very first line. I hope this is sufficient for the definition. In physics, a force is any interaction that, when unopposed, will change the motion of an object. Sounds a bit like what Curve was talking about with acceleration. Wouldn't you agree?
And one
See,
sec.
it says to acceleration right there. Oh, I mean to accelerate. So where is his thing of the definition of a force?
He's using
Getting it now.
like a Merriam-Webster. It's the very first one. So it's something and or energy doing something. He's using a textbook one rather than a physics one.
What did Kimo post?
He hasn't, but I saw when you Google. Yeah, there you go. He was reading off the definition, the standard one.
That's the definition of force. So, you said you cannot have acceleration without a force, and we do have acceleration when we change the density, which is not a force, as you tell us. So you're going to have to show this buoyant force without changing the density that causes the egg or objects to move. Let's go.
That's not required, Kimo. You can say the words that it's required, but it's not, because as I just said earlier, your independent variable is the density, the medium. When you change that, you're going to have a direct change in the buoyant force.
You have your experiment in the vacuum yet?
If you want to change the subject, that's fine, but I'm trying to address your concerns and stay on topic.
Yeah, I was talking to Curb, so you're talking to me. So you got your experiment yet?
Oh, am I not allowed to talk in this public forum of a chat
We're
room?
talking right now. Do you got your experiment?
Well, again, if you want to change the topic, that's fine, but I'm trying to
changing
stay
what
on
topic? I wasn't talking to you about a topic. So have you got your experiment?
So you
He
get
was
to
talking
dictate
about
the topic then.
We didn't have a topic. I was
Topic
asking
was
Curb
not
something. I'm only
having
asking you now. Do you have your experiment?
No, I'm not trying to change the topic right
We're
now.
not
Kimo.
changing
Let's
the
stay on
topic. We didn't have a
Not
topic.
trying to change the topic. It's not about topic changes.
Me and Curb are going to get right back to the topic we're talking. I'm talking to you now. We didn't have a topic. Do you have your experiment?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay on topic here, Kimo. So I addressed the independent variable with the dependent variable when we're talking about your experiment that you provided, where the medium density changed, and then the egg location in that medium changed in elevation. That's exactly what I'm talking about right now.
Why are you
So if you
changing
want
the
the
topic?
topic, that's fine. I'm trying to stay on topic.
No, you've just changed the topic.
Do you have a problem with the independent variable and the dependent variable that I gave you for your experiment? Do you have a
Why are
problem
you
with that?
changing the topic now?
Do you have a problem with my explanation?
Yes, because you're changing the topic.
I adhere to the rest of the people in voice chat. Have I changed the topic of discussion?
No, but in keeping with that, I did have a
Yes,
question
you have.
about what Kimo said.
All right, so let's get back
about
to it
how
then.
they're
All right, let's
not-
get back to it. Get back to
Kimo,
what
you're directly interrupting
how
someone. I
they're
want you to see that right now.
They aren't linked.
Let's get back to it curved. So you said you cannot have
Please
acceleration
clarify
without a
that.
force.
His experiment.
What, Kirk, you want to change topic now? You don't want to talk about the force you said requires, you said the acceleration you said requires the force.
Yeah, but
You want to change that topic?
all right, here. This is what I got to say. Yeah, you posted a definition of force,
Yeah.
and I noticed that you posted the general definition
That's right.
from the first link that you found. Now,
That's
you
right.
had available at your fingertips the option to select the physics definition. You chose not to. I will go ahead and post that for you now
That is
since
the
you were
same.
too chicken shit.
That's the same
to
thing.
do-
Physics, physical, force, same thing.
An influence tending to
Same
change
thing,
the
Kurt,
motion of a
physics.
body or produce motion or stress at a stage.
So the force I was talking about is not physical.
Magnitude of such an influence is
Oh,
often
got it.
calculated by multiplying the mass of the body by its acceleration.
Right, so a
Now
different
again,
kind of...
you just chose some general layman's colloquial use of force. You
So there
could
were
have used the
different kinds
verb
of forces
force
then,
if
yeah?
you wanted to be just dishonest, but you didn't. You just went with the general definition. We've gone with the more specific one. And in science, physics, energy has a meaning that is not going to fit with defining force as energy, not to my knowledge. And I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong, but that confuses me hearing it that way.
So force is physics, physical curve, when we talk about forces, energy. So there was still energy in what you're talking about. But what you need to address is the egg moving without a force. Now you need to show that force, manipulate that force, show the independent variable, and show the cause of the effects. That the egg moving or rising is due to a force, which you said it was the buoyant force. So can you manipulate the buoyant force, not density?
Why does
Hold
Kimo do all this?
By
Because
what authority am I compelled to do these things that you're demanding of me?
Why are you just making stuff up then, like your own definition? That's why we say you talk pseudoscience and nonsense.
No.
You understand
No.
now? You understand that you just make things
No,
up?
my definition,
is
as put
pseudoscience.
it, which was basically just explaining in my own words what it
Right.
is perfectly in line with the physics definition of force.
Fine. Now demonstrate your independent
You're lying
variable.
about.
Fine. Demonstrate the egg was rising due to a force.
No, I'm not a demonstrator.
No, you're not.
You might be a demonstrator, but
Yeah.
I am not.
No, you don't. You just make things up.
Nothing have I made up. You're making up your accusation that I made something up.
Well,
This is really boring, Kimo.
You said
You're gonna have to
buoyant
step up your
force.
game.
You said buoyant force. Demonstrate it.
What was the conclusion of your experiment, Kimo?
May I, Kimo, drop your container and see what happens.
No, Curve
Is the
says you
egg-
cannot
is
have
the egg
acceleration
still
without
buoyant?
force. No.
Is the egg still buoyant?
No, Curve
Uh,
says you cannot have acceleration without a force.
No, yeah, right.
Right.
And then try to accelerate it faster than gravity down and see how buoyant
No,
it is
that's
and
not
which
science.
direction it goes.
Not science.
Yes.
Curve needs to
That's
show-
not science.
Mhm.
That's not science.
That's not science. Curve made a
What is it then?
hypothesis that the buoyant force is controlling the acceleration. Now he needs to show that.
The example that you gave is perfect,
Right.
Kimo.
Riley showed it.
Yeah, he changed the density.
Perfect. That's perfect.
So now you need to show the buoyant force, not the density.
No, that's what is being shown, and that's what's being explained here. So what you're asking for is what you provided.
No,
Is
because
the
the buoyancy
experiment within
requires
the
gravity, and gravity you haven't demonstrated. That's we're waiting
Again,
for you. We're waiting for you
also
to prove.
requires density.
We're waiting
in
for you. We're waiting
particular
for you to
medium.
provide an experiment that you promised last year of mass attracting mass. Remember? You forgot about it.
Kimo, as much as I love when you suck my dick about this,
Yeah.
we can stay on topic.
Yeah. Well, like I said, in order to back up Curve's buoyancy, we need your gravity. So we can't have one without the other.
In this particular situation,
Yeah.
we just need the density medium change. That's all we need.
Exactly. Finally.
Yeah, exactly. So we have that.
Finally.
So we have that.
That's all we
So
need, Curve.
I'm gonna get to the end of the sentence if it kills you.
That's
Kimo.
all we need, Curve, is a density change.
I'm going
not the
to get
buoyant,
to the
not
end of
the
this
gravity
sentence,
force.
Kimo. Kimo, I'm going to get to the end of this.
Well, you're changing topic. Okay?
No, I'm not. I'm staying on the density. I'm staying on your experiment.
No, you're supposed to have an experiment that shows mass attracting mass.
Promise you. I'm way more stubborn than you are, Kimo. I'm going to get to the end of this.
Listen to yourself.
Please let him finish, for God's sake.
Take a
Thank
rest,
you.
man.
So, you said that you had an experiment.
No, let him finish.
Oh, okay. Wait,
Kimo, we're staying on topic, and I'm using your experiment that you provided with the density medium change, and that's a variable of a buoyant force. So when you change that side of the buoyant force equation, you are directly changing the buoyant force, which is in line with your experiment that you claim to occur, and we have no problem with that, and we've explained it very clearly. What is wrong with the density medium being the independent variable, and your dependent variable being the buoyant force and acting on that egg? What is wrong with that?
So you're changing topic now, then?
Again, I appeal to the voice chat. I don't think
Alright, so stop changing topic. Can we stick to Curve's point? Curve says you cannot have acceleration without a force. Now, Curved, no one manipulated any forces when the egg changed direction and accelerated. So you need to explain what the force was that you manipulated to get this effect.
How did you explain what the force was, Kimo?
Curve brought it in. He explained it. He said there's a force with it. He said there's no acceleration without a force, but we saw the egg rise without a force. He said there's a force. So where's this force? What force is he talking about?
That was incorrect to say that, and he just covered that.
What did he say? He didn't say anything. He said made up his own definition.
Kimo,
I didn't make up his own definition, and you are the one making up your own definitions.
Let's try again. The egg was rising because of what, Curved? What caused the egg to rise?
The water
The
below it.
buoyant force, which you changed by changing the density of the fluid. The buoyant force is a result of the fluid density, acceleration due to gravity, and the fluid volume. Kimo.
The buoyancy is caused by density, what you're saying.
It is a factor.
Yeah, so if I change the density, I change the buoyancy. That's the cause. No other forces.
That was the cause in this situation.
Yeah,
That's what
just
you
buoyancy
changed.
and buoyancy and density.
What made the parent change, yes.
Fair enough. Yeah, buoyancy and density. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
That's incorrect also to try and
No, Curve just said it. That's fine. Curve is correct. There's no other force. It's just density and buoyancy. Thank you very much, Curve. Well done.
I feel like anybody else doing what Kimo's doing would be muted, but that's just my opinion.
Well, he's given us the answer.
Be wrong,
well, he's all we got.
Curve, you've given us the answer. You said there was buoyancy and density. That's it. That was all that was involved.
Kimo is the curve that we are tasked.
He did say that. That's all he said.
I think buoyancy.
No, I heard he said gravity.
No, he didn't say gravity. He said density and buoyancy.
The force.
Kimo, I'll repeat myself. The buoyant force is a result of
doesn't buoyancy require
fluid density, acceleration due to gravity,
Thank you
fluid
very much,
volume.
Anyway, we've settled it.
You understand that?
We're satisfied.
Don't you dare tell me I didn't say something I said.
Right, is there gravity involved?
Did you fucking listen? You need to shave your
I didn't hear gravity. Yeah, you're right. No gravity was mentioned. Good.
He mentioned all four variables.
No, he didn't mention any gravity.
Twice.
The reason why you didn't, well, yeah, twice. The reason why you didn't hear him, Kimo, is because you're constantly
because
talking
you're
over
interrupting. That's why. So, Curve, you mentioned gravity.
In your opinion.
Let's go. So, can you show gravity is a force?
Kimo,
Curve.
you are already a front runner for Wanker of the Year. How
So
does
you're just
this
going to
make
make
you
things
feel?
up then and just make wild claims about acceleration without a
Oh
force
no!
without testing.
Oh no! I'm giving out the award this year, I think. So I'm not making anything up, and you are definitely a front runner.
Is that before or after your experiment?
Neither. I'm doing no experiment. I don't give a fuck.
Got it. So you just make wild claims. Welcome to Flat Earth, Curve.
No. I can know things without doing experiments.
Of course you can.
Come on, that was correct. Wild claims. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Yeah.
I was about to address that too. Did you just say that, Kimo?
Yeah. So now he doesn't need to make any wild claims anymore. Welcome to Flat Earth. We don't make wild claims.
You just said, make wild claims, welcome to Flat Earth.
Oh, okay, if you like. But anyway, Curve, no more wild claims, because you don't have to make such silly things up about, buoyancy
Even
and
a
gravity.
broken clock is right twice a day. Good job, Kimo.
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay,
cool.
you want to go explain? Oh, no experiment needed, right? You don't need an experiment. You just said. You just know. Because you know. Because you're curved water. Exactly. So, next time you go demanding the definition of force, just remember who you're asking. And be careful about making wild claims around the wrong people.
Kimo, would you consider a map an experiment?
Anyway, can we bring Denmark back? He was doing really well against Bio earlier on.
Are you talking about after he went silent, after I explained everything to him?
No, he's been muted. Don't know what for.
No, he wasn't muted at that time. Is he muted now? Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't muted during our conversation. He self-muted after I explained everything to him.
Now we can change the topic back to Dem's question about mass attractive mass, which you're supposed to produce.
Right, I've produced it to you, or for you.
What, you've produced?
Where's the acceleration without a pore schema? You failed.
Oh my god, you can't handle it.
No, you're just looking to slither back to Denmark to get the heat off of you. You failed to produce an acceleration.
Curve, you just
without
said
a
you
pore
don't need
schema.
to do an experiment. You know because you know. You're wonderful Curve. That's it. Then what can we do with the wonderful Curve?
Kimo, I'm not asking you for a fucking experiment, you dumb fuck.
Don't need it, yeah.
I'm just asking you, give me an example of an acceleration without a force.
Don't need anything, Curve. Don't need to show you anything. Don't need any example. You know because you know.
Show me something.
Don't need to.
Show me, so to speak. I don't mean I need to see a video. Explain it. Give me an example of acceleration without a force.
Don't need it. You know because you know.
Okay, I'll take the W.
You know everything, yeah. You're curved. You know it because you know.
Well, you know what? With as little as I know, I will take that because I do know more than you, Kimo.
Exactly.
Everybody in this fucking room knows more than you.
Oh, wise curved. Knows because he knows.
I would offer that Kimo does know. He just denies it all.
Can't beat that. Curve knows just
That's
because he
for sure.
knows.
I used to think
That's
that.
the level of his science. I know because I know. No experiments needed.
He's making some really sloppy mistakes lately. I'm not so sure he does know. He needs to step up his game.
I'll remind you of what you've just said. I know because I know I don't need experiments. Exactly. Think about what you've just...
You
Me
did
personally,
say that.
you know, I'm
Sleep
not
on that,
speaking for
Curve.
anybody.
When you go to bed tonight, sleep on it. I know what I know. I don't need experiments.
If I feel I need to do an experiment on something, I will do it. I test things, I measure things, I observe carefully.
Okay, where's the measurement for the
I
concentration?
assert that's how maps get made.
Find out if things that I believe conform to these measurements and observations, and they do. I don't want to play your experiment game because I'm not a fucking John Stunja clown. You can go suck him and QE for all I care.
Now,
I
you're a
don't give a
special
fuck
kind
about
of
you
clown.
and your scientific method.
You're a special
I'm not
kind of
playing
clown.
that game.
You're a special kind of clown. You know what you know because you're curved. This is a special kind of clown, right? Just to know without any experiment, just to know what you know because I know what I know.
If it makes you feel better, you say that, Kimo. Go ahead.
But you're special. You seem to know things just because you know them, just because you're curved and you know them. You don't need to do any special, particular experiments. You just know it.
We're all special, Kimo.
I didn't say I just know it. I've said other things.
Bon
Kimo.
Jovi, what did he
but
say?
You are too slimy.
I am not paying attention. So you can't be using me as backup right now.
Well, I could go back, but you did say it. You know you said it. So the point is acceleration.
Whoa. Okay, let's clear this up. I'm telling you what I said was I don't need to do experiments. I know what I know. And since I've said that, I've told you several ways that I know things that I know. That's not an exhaustive list of how I know, but I do not need your quantum eraser elementary school scientific method or to conform to any of your goddamn quarks in order to prove that to anybody. That's all I'm saying. And I did not say I know it because
Yes,
I
you
know
did,
it
because I know
say
it.
so.
That's exactly
I
what you
assert
said.
all experience is an
did not
experiment,
say
whether it's
what I
formal or
said.
not. Get excited.
I concur, Don.
No, we can change the topic now and get back to BioDual with his promises of having to
Run away.
vacuum. Well, you know what you
Kimo,
know.
to me, most maps are experiments, Kimo, most maps. Most of
Unless Denmark wants to bring it back to where he was before.
Yeah, Kimo, I'm asking Blue Marble for particular details on the torsion balance itself, but I am about to push an order through on Newegg for a vacuum chamber and pump. I'm just getting the details on the torsion balance.
Good
what
man.
would be best?
No, that's what we like. We like science. What we
No, I don't give a shit what you like.
No, everybody likes science, right? And
I don't think so.
And if you know, you're not about making wild religious claims about miracles, we'll conduct an experiment.
Yeah, I could say the same thing to you, Kimo.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Which is why we have the relative density experiment.
The buoyant force, yes, I agree.
Which requires gravity.
It requires a number of things, but gravity would be a variable. Yeah.
Which hasn't been proven until you provide your experiment.
No, it has been proven. Your personal incredulity doesn't change reality.
Where has it been proven? Let's see the observation.
Plenty of examples with the Cavendish.
I know. Let's see the observation.
No thanks. I know it's been provided to you at least probably 15
in
times.
A vacuum?
In a specifically a vacuum, at least 5 times that I've provided. I'm sure.
Do you mean like a paper?
Right, which is totally sufficient.
Yeah, but I'm asking you for the what do I mean by observation?
No, I know. You need pretty pictures. I understand. I totally understand where you're coming from. You need pretty pictures. I get that.
To see it, the observation.
Right, you need pretty pictures. Even though this is something that you're totally more than capable of doing yourself as well. You require others to do it because you don't like science.
Not my claim.
I honestly think that Kimo really likes everybody because he just gives them wins all the time.
Maybe.
Really is a nice ego
When he
boost.
provides an experiment, this would be a big win for him.
That's why I generally get on every Friday. Because we stream and get drunk, play video games, and it's competition. So this ego boost really helps me going into those.
Good.
How would you record motion, like if you wanted to experiment with the speed of a snail?
Time lapse.
What would you do? Take photographs of it to see how fast it was moving?
You just time lapse it.
Or would you just, you would record the information, right?
Just record it.
It took 6 hours for it to cross a meter.
Record it, yeah.
You'd record it on tape, like video? Or
if I want to see the snail move.
6 hours per.
Yeah, but I'm not measuring how fast. I'm just measuring if it moves. Not measuring if it moves.
No,
I'm just
how
observing
fast
if it moves.
how fast it moves.
No, I'm not looking at that data. I just want to know, does the snail move at all?
No, the specifications of the test is how fast does the snail move. That's what I specified when I started. So.
I know, yeah, but I just realised that's not science.
And it's irrelevant. How would you do it? Now, you would record it, right? You'd take down notes.
Just measure it. Measurement.
You would just take a 600 frame per second video of it.
Just measure it. So you could put a marker at the back, see how far, and then measure it. Time and speed. Not difficult.
And then what would you do with that information?
Nothing, because it's not science. Now, obviously, with this mass attractive mass, would be like...
I don't think so. Hold on.
With this observation, we can say, wow, this can apply to all kinds of things, right? Water sticking to a ball.
Science is understanding the world. The snail is part of the world. So if science is recording the world and understanding the world, I'm understanding the speed of a snail. That sounds like science to me.
Yeah, but again, it's not a question that we would ask. It's not a phenomenon.
It's a question. So you want to look at video of something that moves at slower than a snail's pace.
Doesn't matter
you
how
think
doesn't matter how
that's the best
slow
way
or
to record
fast.
the information.
Doesn't matter
But
about.
yet you wouldn't do that for a snail.
No, all we want to see is, does the snail move? Do the objects move because of gravity? Because of the mass?
Which is perfect because this vacuum chamber doesn't need to be large, so we don't need to make accurate measurements. We only need to see the effect, which is awesome. I appreciate that, Kimo.
Fantastic, yeah.
The one I saw that was nicest was like a little rectangular box with
That's the very point, Bio. Yes, if you can take out the variable that causes it to move, which is the atmosphere, the warm air.
No, that's your
you didn't
claim.
accept that.
That's your claim that you have to produce any reason to believe that. That it's fine to say maybe that's what's causing it. That's fine. But when these experiments are given to you, when they're done in a container, in a pressure not pressurized, but a pressure controlled environment, and we see that it comes to an equilibrium, had the atmosphere and the air been had the air been the cause of the movement, the apparatus would never be able to get to equilibrium. And then the fact that it does come to equilibrium means that there's no pressure deviation and the air is not causing it to move. And when you introduce a mass and it does move, and then when you also take away that mass and it reaches equilibrium yet again, you know that the mass is causing it. I don't know what's difficult about that.
Nothing, again, it's just we know the cause to the effect. Pretty simple.
Right, yes, we do. When the mass is introduced, it causes the motion. Correct.
You won't know that unless you put it in the vacuum.
No, that's not required. Because again, I just explained why that's not required. In a vacuum that's extra fun. That's fine. But it's not required because we've eliminated air pressure as a cause when we bring it to equilibrium.
But they won't move in a vacuum, that's the point.
Yeah, and they won't move while they're in within an air pressure, as long as you don't have a pressure deviation. And the way that you ensure that and confirm that is by bringing it to equilibrium.
Well,
I would agree. If it never gets to equilibrium, I 100% agree that there are external forces causing it to retain or go into motion. I do agree to that. But once you bring it to equilibrium, you have eliminated those variables.
That can only happen in a vacuum.
False. Again. No, not again. I'm not going to explain it again, but that's false.
Okay, well, again, we know what causes it to move then.
Yes, mass. Correct.
Well, you've got to show
Boring,
that.
Kimo. Jesus Christ.
Well, what do you want to talk about, Chris? Your love life that you don't have?
We're talking about new equilibriums. It's just a new equilibrium.
Let's talk about your love life then.
You want to talk about the
what you obviously have.
Kimo strategy.
You obviously have.
I'm happily married with many kids, Chris. 2 kids.
Are you fuck?
So what caused the first equilibrium? Did it cause the second?
No.
What about
So
Kimo's interesting strategy of invincible ignorance?
Dude, I appreciate you. I'm trying to steelman Kimo the best possible that I can come up with.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Was that Scott speaking? Was that Scott speaking before?
What's that?
I'm glad you mentioned the equilibrium thing. I keep on forgetting that one.
What's the Mormon when they have many wives, Chris?
Rest, isn't it?
Right. So that
Daddy Kimo is on Discord again talking flat earth, and all I want is just him to make me some dinner.
Oh, Chris comes on a flat Earth server and he's hearing people talking about flat Earth. How strange.
Yeah, I appreciate that you guys want to gossip. That's fine.
But Kimo, is it? I mean, doesn't it make Jesus cry when you lie like that?
You don't know Jesus.
Especially the what do they call it? The sanctity of marriage.
Yeah.
First setup.
Okay, cool. Get back to the autistic fucking flat earth shit, because you've been talking for not long enough.
These are men of science, Chris.
This isn't a fucking 1v1, man. But there is a room for that.
What do you want to talk about?
Why don't you go there?
Chris wants to talk about his love life. Dad.
So the first set of equilibrium that you obtain is you're eliminating the outside, a number of outside forces, and outside causes to what's going on.
But
no, I like it.
If you've got
so
pressure in the container, then there will still be movement bio. So it has to be
no,
no
false.
pressure.
If you have pressure deviation, if you have a deviation of pressure, all
No.
you require is that pressure is sustained. So you can sustain atmospheric pressure within a container. You can sustain a vacuum pressure within a container. You can sustain these pressures, and that's totally fine. And the reason why you do that is, I guess, to appease flat earthers who don't understand the experiment in the first place. So long as you don't have a pressure deviation, that's not going to be a cause of the movement. And if it were that cause, we would know for sure because it wouldn't come to an equilibrium.
Okay.
Do you understand that principle?
Let me ask you: is there a gradient in the container?
What, a vertical one? Correct. And then does the apparatus move laterally? Correct. Yes.
There's a gradient, right? So when you have that gradient, that's not equalizing. Yes.
No, it's fine because you don't have a deviation pressure. You don't have pressure deviation movement. That's all you have. And even if you want to invoke the gradient, that's fine too because this gradient occurs vertically, not horizontally. Which is another great reason why the Cavendish is awesome.
No,
because
you're wrong again.
The movement is laterally and not vertically.
You're wrong again.
That's awesome.
What if the masses attracted are just displaying the same equilibrium?
I want to respond, Don,
right
because me and Moya.
Don, you need to respond.
Don, let me interrupt you while you're trying to address something scientific, so I could spout more ignorant bullshit.
No, well, look, let me respond
scientific.
here.
Serious scientific fire shit.
So me and
Kimo, what's the effect of the gradient on this?
Well, let me explain.
Let me
explain it to you. Yes. So me and
gradient's not a fluctuation, right?
Well, look, me and Moya were talking this morning. Well, let me explain. Me and Moya were talking this morning about a mountain.
Kimo, that's biojoule. I don't use it as Moyak.
Well, Moya agreed that the mountain would have a sideward gradient. So we've got a gradient going vertical and horizontal. We've got horizontal and vertical gradient bio. Now, if you knew these things,
here, Kimo, this is sad and pathetic.
No, Moik agreed. That's why I asked him this morning, and he said, "Yeah, there was a gradient at the side of the mountain."
No mountain here, Kimo. Sad and pathetic.
Got a container.
There's no horizontal gradient.
You've got a container.
Horizontal gradient.
There is mass at the side of the.
Horizontal gradient.
Listen.
Wait, I'm.
There's no.
You're not letting me explain. That's why.
Let me speak for let me speak for myself. I said this alien experiment, there probably is some form of a gradient because there's more gravity towards the mountain. Therefore,
you're roboting. Robot. So look, my understanding is that if there's a gradient in the container, there's going to be less gas at the top. That means it will attract to the mass at the side because it will be just few molecules and a lot of mass with the container. Now, you can't control that, as we understood today.
Sir, that would still prove gravity, dumbass.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying that if he's saying that there's a gradient, then it's moving around.
I don't think whatever is an appropriate response to that, Kimo.
Yeah, because we know there's no gravity.
It doesn't prove mass to mass. He's igniting gravity now, Kimo. That's awesome.
Whatever. As long as he's saying, as long as he thinks he can control the container with gas inside, and you can't.
Right, you can control the pressure deviation.
No, we've just told you why.
Change in movement.
You're not listening, are you, Moik? Tell him again.
No, I'm listening 100% to what you're saying. And
tell him, Moik.
What you're saying is that there's a pressure gradient, and because there's different pressures within a particular volume, you're saying that there is always some type of motion or a change in motion
in your world, in your worldview. I don't believe that.
That's what you're saying is a concern, right?
In your worldview, I don't believe that, though.
So again, that's what you're saying is a concern, correct?
In your worldview, yes.
Okay, and what I'm saying is you don't have that change in motion because you have the constant gradient. And because the gradient occurs vertically, it won't have an effect on this lateral movement of the experiment.
We've got horizontal and vertical gradient. Moyak, tell him again.
I don't. First of all, I don't give a fuck what Moyak said.
You're not listening, are you? You see, you're just like Curve now, making your own stuff up.
No. I disagree with Moyak. I disagree with Moyak to the extent that when he further I would love for you to interrupt me while I'm trying to explain.
You're just making it up though now.
I would love for you to interrupt me again while I'm trying to explain it.
And please, he's on a moderator. I'd like to hear pressure, man. It's crazy.
Moderator Kimo.
Yeah, he's not.
Please interrupt me again.
He's absolutely not frustrating you on purpose, and you're absolutely not playing into his
Oh no,
games.
no, it's fine.
It's not
So
what's happening.
I do disagree with Moyak to the extent of when he himself explained what you are claiming him to say. He said when you're near a mountain, it's the gravity of that mountain because of that mass is going to cause some type of sideways force to a certain extent. Agree to that on that basis. But when we're talking about in general, the norm, the commonality of this experiment, we're not right next to a mountain. We're not right next to a 1,000-pound lead ball. We're just doing this in normal circumstances.
But
Right.
bio, there's
Hold on. No. Stop. By Don. I want to respond. Now listen up. Got to listen to this. So you're saying, Moyak's saying there's a gradient on the side of the mountain. Now, your balls will also...
Kimo.
You're not letting me finish.
Kimo. Well, you're mixing up two totally different experiments.
No. So the balls...
You are, damn it.
No. Look.
An experiment has nothing to do with a torsion
I want to be able
balance.
to
You
finish.
nitwit.
Let me finish.
You're a total fucking idiot,
Let
Kimo.
me finish.
That's a goddamn plumb
Why
bob, you
can't I
idiot.
finish? Thank you. So,
Jesus
bio...
Christ, stop mixing up two experiments here.
No.
You are completely confusing
being
everything,
silly now. Look
Kimo,
at
and
this.
You're doing it in...
What is this?
You're just being a dishonest fuck.
What
with
is this?
point.
I haven't even finished my point.
Chemo, tell him the
Right,
quickly.
no.
I
want to make this point. So, Moyak's agreed. Now listen.
No, I have not agreed.
Moyak didn't agree that there was any goddamn pressure differential
No,
laterally.
he didn't say
It's the
that.
same-
He didn't say that. He
Yeah,
said...
he agreed. He did. He agreed.
He said
This is
there's a great...
horseshit.
Oh my goodness.
This is horseshit. It's a different experiment
Guys,
altogether. Do you know what you
please just
did?
let
Do
him
you know how they did the
They're
measurement?
spiraling.
Have you
They're
got any goddamn
spiraling.
idea?
They're spiraling. Now, Moyak says there's a gradient at the side of the mountain. Now, if you're using your balls to get the attraction, and one ball will attract another ball, there is also going to be a gradient at the side of the balls. Small, but there will also be a gradient. Because of what Moyak just said.
In theory, to a very, very extreme, minute value that will be negligible to the magnitudes of what we're measuring in that experiment.
Wait, that doesn't matter at all what the magnitude is. How that's going to affect the experiment if the gradient is equal on both sides of the ball?
No, they're
That's a good
different
point,
masses.
too.
What do you mean they're different masses, aren't they?
No. Each ball. We're talking about each ball. And first of all, if there is a gradient because the mass, then you accept gravity. What's the problem?
No, I'm just saying that.
No, look. There is, while there's no balls, there is no gradient.
While there's no balls in the container.
Yes.
According to you,
It stops moving.
According to you, there is a gradient, but we know there is no gradient.
Yes,
in
when
the
we
container.
introduce balls, yes.
No, just in general, there's no gradient.
Yes. No, in general.
Right, go ahead, Don.
In
Sorry.
general, there is a vertical gradient. In general, once you introduce the balls, there is also a bit horizontal gradient. But that's because of the balls have mass and have gravity. That's all.
You're lucky we've been entertaining this bio. All this noise and fuss over something that we don't even see in nature anyway. And you haven't demonstrated
Yeah, we do.
it to be true.
We do see
anytime
it.
you suspend balls on a torsion balance.
Yep,
like
that's
I said-
a natural part of the world.
So if you want this experiment to be accepted by everyone, then you have to manipulate and account for the variable that is causing the
That's a
effect.
false claim that we want it to be accepted by everyone, especially those people who blatantly deny facts.
No, if you want to prove gravity to the world, you need to show this attraction. Show it.
No.
Yes, it's been shown.
And
Kimo.
reproduction shows mass
Re-
attracting
re-
mass.
Kimo, that shows gravity as we understand it. If you understand it differently and say somehow vacuum going to affect it, you're welcome to prove it. That's your claim. Your claim is gravity, air pressure affects gravity. That's your claim. Prove it.
And why do the balls come to a stop, as was described before? After you take away the masses, or even when you put the masses in, Why does the ball eventually reach a static condition?
I mean, again, we can put that down to just being man-made, but if you want to do this scientifically and account for the variables...
No, we're talking about the observation that when we move masses near this thing, the fucking balls start to move.
We've never seen
When
that,
we
Moya.
reverse those balls, the balls move the opposite direction after some oscillations.
Yeah, that's
and there'll be a continuous pressure or a continuous off-center motion of them from actually having done this. I've seen this with
What about secret baby magnetism?
secret baby magnetism. Why are you fucking just derping in here with something stupider than
I wouldn't
than
even
Kimo?
respond to it.
We're gonna call it a fundamental force. It's a fundamental force.
Let them wear that.
Okay, derp.
Don't worry, it's canceled out by unicorn magnetism, so we don't have to
What
account for
gradient?
it.
What gradient are we talking about inside this vacuum?
Oh,
it's a secret.
Got your supposedly downward bias. Got the bias towards the
Downward
mass
bias of what?
of the gas.
What
Why?
gas? There's negligible
Oh my
gas
God.
in it. It's been evacuated. It's been evacuated.
Oh, so you're gonna use a vacuum? Well, that's something different then. But Bio's saying no, he doesn't want to use a
Is
vacuum.
he not? That's what
No.
I thought.
Yeah, now he is, yes. But he's saying that he can use it in a not a vacuum and get results, and we're saying no.
Well, of course you could.
Well, I know you say that, but we know the cause, so that's just the end of that. If in a
You don't know
vacuum,
fucking thing.
if in a vacuum we don't
You
have
just
a
say it.
cause, we have to say magic, and you guys will accept magic, but you will accept the atmosphere because we know it's a real variable we can remove and manipulate.
All right, what gradient do you have if it's not evacuated?
If it's not evacuated, then you'll just have in your worldview you have this downward bias. Yes.
Of the gas.
Have a downward bias, so you have more gas at the bottom in your worldview because of gravity. Remember.
Yep.
So you would have.
That's demonstrable.
Yeah, that's what you would
Yeah.
have in your worldview.
Right.
But in reality, the gases fill the space, move everywhere, and there is no downward bias. With gases.
Okay, so you have no complaint in a sealed chamber with the atmosphere in it.
No,
you
not
say
in
there
it.
is no gradient.
Yeah.
So
That
you
means-
have nothing to object to there.
Yes, I do. That means the
There is
gas is
gravity
Stop! Don't
creating
go
a
ahead.
gradient.
No point raising the head curve. Yes, with the gas in it, that means that the air is moving around, circulating. constantly moving.
Why? Because you say so?
No, because it's pressure off the walls, hitting off one wall and then another wall and another wall. It's always moving around. Jeez Louise.
And how come the ball's not moving?
If you were to hang streamers inside this thing, very lightweight streamers, you'll see them being moved around, right?
No, you'd have to have a stream of gas that was light. A stream of gas, not physical, thick, dense streamers. No, a stream of gas.
Why are they moving these lead balls, but they won't move the tiny little lightweight streamers?
Well, again, because the Cavendish is set up very, very sensitive to detect slightest motion. Now, of course, with your ribbons,
So
of
why
course,
they can't?
Speaking like an asshole doesn't make you correct.
No,
Yeah, why they
Curve, you
can't
just
set
said.
the
Hold on,
animal
Don.
in
Sorry,
check,
hold on, Don. You said, Curve, just whack in a ribbon, and will it move? No, but if you put it in the Cavendish fashion, where it's very sensitive and it can detect the slightest of motion, it will flow around like it's in a wind tunnel.
Why don't the streamers move?
I'm just not listening. If you set the streamers up in such a fashion that it was super duper sensitive, yes, it would move around. But if you just hang streamers in there, it's not going to be.
Let's see that, Kimo.
No, that's your job to do your claim. Anyway,
That's your claim that they would move.
back to reality. Back to reality. Before your gravity goes or upside goes.
I'm so confused. This very sensitive experiment doesn't move
By rights,
until
we
you
shouldn't
put
really
the other weights
accept
in there.
your
So where's the wind?
shouldn't accept it because it's man-made and we know the cause is man. But again, if you need a leg to stand on, you need to actually show the experiment, show the observation of mass attracting mass. Then, obviously,
How exactly do you
and then
establish
in
that it's
nature,
man-made?
this could be done in nature. You can say,
How
look,
exactly do you establish that it's man-made or man-caused?
Because if it's man-made, man set it up in a way for the effect. Nature, you'd never see this in nature, is what we mean. But I mean, look past that. Don't worry about that right now. Just look at the fact that we don't have the observation. We have papers, people writing about it. Oh yeah, I saw this, but no one's actually seen in a vacuum mass attractive mass.
Say it of Kimo.
Denmark, what do you think of this?
We see the moon, we see the earth. There is a vacuum between them. There you go.
Oh, I know, that's what we're told. Again, before we can accept all that, we need science.
Yeah, well, that's what we see, Kimo. You don't see it. It's your problem.
No, again.
And do you see a dome?
We need science to back up that claim. That's all.
Yeah, we can measure the distance to the moon. We can see there's no atmosphere between us and the moon. Not as much, otherwise we wouldn't see it, right?
Oh, you're saying that between... Yeah, but again, that's another claim.
That's actually a pretty good point, that we wouldn't be able to see it because it would be an X amount of distance away. So the atmosphere must thin out for us to be able to see that far.
Well, if the moon is in our atmosphere.
Well, if you're going to make that claim, then you're going to have to prove that. But what I'm saying is, the atmosphere must thin out for us to be able to see it, because if it stayed the same density for an X amount of distance, we wouldn't be able to see that far.
Yeah, there's less...
about 100 miles up.
That claim, Kimo.
There's less water up there, yeah, sure.
Where's the science to back up your claim, Kimo?
What claim? Which claim?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Which claim? But let's just go with that one that you just tried to make of the moon is in the atmosphere. Where's the science to back that up?
Science? This wouldn't require science.
Oh, is this one of those things you know because you know?
No, that's curved. This would be just a measurement that you would have to make. Now, I don't make any claims about where it looks like it's in the atmosphere. So we can only go with how it looks. Now, you're saying that it's not in the atmosphere.
Claim that it looks like it's in the atmosphere.
Not my claim. I'm not saying it is, definitively. I don't know. No one's ever been to the moon to check out where it is.
Okay, well then, what is your science for that?
Doesn't require science. There's no observed phenomenon. There's no effect here with the moon. What effect are we looking at? None.
The moon is attracted to the earth. It's falling all the time. What are you talking about?
Falling? No.
It's falling.
Whatever we guess is happening to the moon, we have to test it. Can't do that. Can't go there. One day.
How is the moon falling? What's it falling
Why is it a
off of?
stipulation that we have to go there to test it? We can't test it by some other methods?
No,
or
you don't have
means?
to go there, but again, if you're making a claim about what...
Okay, so we don't go there. Okay, that denies that whole claim. So
yes, but...
now let's go. Where's your science to back your...
Again, well, unless there's an effect, something's happening. Let's say the moon splits in half. Or...
No, not let's say. How about we actually do this with measurements and some observations and some science?
That's not science, I keep telling you.
Correct. What you're doing is not science. I totally agree with you on that.
No, what you're saying is you want a measurement of what the moon is or how far it is or something, yeah? You're going to measure it, dude. You've got to get a laser or something and just fire it at the moon and just take a measurement. But
Okay, I can get, or something. So I can go to my kitchen and get a grape, fire it at the moon, take a measurement.
No, you need a really powerful laser, I think. Don't know how far.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if we can fire that laser and bounce it off the moon and get that timing divided by 2, and you'll have your distance.
Absolutely. Now, are you claiming you've done that, Bio? Is that another claim, Bio, you want to do?
Are you strawmanning me? Instantly?
So be careful.
Instead of the conversation?
Be careful around
That's not
here.
what a straw man is.
You're not my lifeguard. You're not my lifeguard, Kimo. Relax.
Careful. You don't want to make a
Well,
third.
what would it take for Kimo?
Go on, Bon Jovi. Sorry, mate.
What was that?
Wanna
Oh, no,
say
I was
something?
just saying that wasn't a straw man.
What would it take for Kimo to do this?
Do what? I would need a laser. That's how I would suppose. If I understood a laser can measure from here to the wall, here to the tree, here to the mountain, I fire it at the moon. Hopefully I should get a reading and get a distance.
That's a great question. Kimo, where did life begin? In what country?
I just typed it in chat. It's called the Garden of Eden.
Kimo, you want a
Portis
laser?
remembers. You remember when you asked that, Kimo?
I remember that.
Ah, that was good times.
That was
the
good.
silly shit, Kimo.
What country did life begin?
Yes. So, like I said, bio.
You want a laser, Kimo? You want a laser?
Yeah, if you can just like take a laser, fire it at the wall, and say, "Look, the wall is 2 meters away, 5 meters away, 10 meters away." You fire it at a tree. You say the tree is 100 meters away. Fire it at a mountain. The mountain's, so far 2 miles away, a mile away, and you're like, "Yep, we can measure that." And then you're like, "Look, watch me now. Fire it at the moon. Bang! It's this far. This is your distance."
I have a scientific question for you. I want to determine how much you understand.
Wait, I got a laser. I got a laser for you, Kimo.
Okay.
Yo, I got a laser for you, Kimo.
Okay.
What's up, Scott Beach?
Are you just gonna keep saying you got a laser, or is there a point? All right, so Kimo, that little thing you just did there, what did you accomplish?
What little thing?
You just said a bunch of shit that's true. You can use a laser, or any kind of multiple methods of ranging, to get the distance to something.
Yeah.
What's your point?
That's what we need. For someone to be like, "Look at me. I'm going to do a moon measurement tonight."
Yeah, we've done that.
That's what I'm talking about.
So now what?
That's what I'm saying. If we can see someone say, "Hey, look at me. Here's the distance to the wall, distance to the tree, distance to the mountain," and then bang.
You're saying you need to go out and do it. Okay, go ahead. Go confirm it. You can do this.
Not my claim.
But it's your disbelief. You're just going to hand wave it away because you haven't done it.
Well,
and you won't do it so that you can continue to hand wave it away. That's pretty fucking convenient now, isn't it?
What I'm realizing...
That's the action of a truth seeker if I ever saw one.
What I'm realizing is that the guys are using your method of "I know because I know." Now, what we want, Curved, is of the laser. You know because of the laser. Someone's been out there, fired out a wall, tree, mountain, moon. In that order. And then moon, mountain, tree, wall. And say, "Look, it works. It's perfect. It's what gives us results. What's your problem, flat earthers?" And we'd be like, "Oh. Wow."
No, you won't. You'll be like, "Well, we don't know what's between here and there."
Obviously, when BioGeo comes back with his experiment and he shows, look, flatties, look, Kimo, here's the demonstration of mass attracting mass in the vacuum. Again, we'll be like, wow.
It's amazing that you think that that's what I'm gonna do is be an asshole about it. But I think realistically, what I would do is I would set it up. And again, I have multiple webcams. I would set it up in a way where I'm streaming the entire thing in real time, and I would just have it provided for you, and then that'd be it. I don't think I would march around like an ass.
And then you can never hear from this question ever again, ever, because you've got a demonstration of an observation of what we've asked for. We're like, what's the cause of that? Is that magic? How is that happening?
Right, and that's what I'm saying is that it's funny that you assume that I'd be an asshole and march around about it.
No, we can't say magic is not a real thing, can we?
So you're not listening to the words I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, go on. I mean, carry on. As well.
If Kimo were to witness something like this and have his worldview smashed, I think the appropriate thing to do would be to maybe burn an AE map in front of him and rub his nose in the ashes or something like that.
What waiting for, Curb? I've been saying this. You need something to rub in our faces. We are just leading the way so much in terms of science and how you get knowledge. If Bio here can show an actual observation, real demonstration of mass, imagine that. The first time ever, mass attracting
It's not the first time ever.
First time ever, mass attracting mass
Not the
in
first time ever.
First time ever, mass attracting mass in a vacuum. We've never seen this before. Nobody anywhere.
How do you say this? How do you say this and sleep at night?
Science?
All right, well, let's have a look then before Bio. Let's see then.
Out of science?
No,
Here, I'll go as far as to say this much, Kimo. When it's done, and right now I'm getting the details of Blue Marble. but I am about to order it on Newegg, and I'm going to use fishing weights, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, when it's confirmed, what you need to realize is that the scientific papers and experiments provided to you are factual, because at the moment, you're making ignorant claims that it's never been done, but what we provided you is evidence. So when you see it on video for yourself with your eyes, that's only confirming the endless amount of scientific papers provided to you.
Yes,
so you're going to have to not only acknowledge the cause and effect that we provide you, but you're also going to have to backtrack.
Concede.
All of the
He's
hand
never
waving.
he's never
that
going
you've
to
done.
acknowledge it.
I agree.
I can't
You're
believe
right.
you're going
You're
to go
right.
to trouble actually
Once you
doing this.
show, Bio, the experiment or the demonstration and all those papers where you say they have an experiment, there's no reason to doubt it. None at all.
Yeah, there's not really a good reason to.
Oh,
doubt
then
that they
right
don't,
now we have every reason to doubt it, because you just make wild, outrageous claims that you have an observation that's on
Can you
paper.
name one reason that you have to doubt it?
Because it's just on paper. It's no different than a religious book. Exactly. Now what we're looking
yeah,
for.
but hold on, Kimo. But on that token, no different than a religious book. Why are you therefore religious then?
What are you talking about? I said a religious book. So the
best question you've asked
Bible
today.
is
That's the
basic
best question you've
instructions
asked
before
today,
you leave
Bio.
Earth. You see?
Yeah, but the point is here is that you're
press him on it.
hand waving. You're hand waving the scientific experiments and articles that we've given you, and your only, and maybe not only, but your number one reason to refute it is on the basis that it's just words on a paper, just like a religious textbook. So now my question is, why are you religious then, and why do you claim the Bible to be true then?
Because that's to do with my feelings, my feelsies. I feel the power of God.
Oh,
Yes?
what you're doing is you're mixing feelings and emotion within science, which is your first and biggest mistake. Is
No.
that what you're doing?
Try to listen. So with the Bible, I'm allowed to feel the power. Now with science, I can't just feel. With science, I cannot feel. It has to be known to be true. Not just because I feel like the science is correct. That's religion. That's what I do for God. I praise,
It's all about
I
your
worship, I thank you.
self-gratification, Kimo.
All this
Is
stuff.
that what you're saying?
You see the
His personal feelings.
You see the yes, my personal
gratification.
Bio,
Kimo,
jacking off to the Bible.
You have a personal,
so hold
you have
on,
a personal
listen,
religion,
listen,
and you
hold
have a
on. Let me
personal
ask you
science.
something. Let me ask
That's
you
what
something.
we just established right now, Kimo.
Let me ask you.
You have a personal religion, and you have a personal science.
So, is this paper your personal feeling?
No. It is someone else's findings, measurements, experiment, and conclusions
And
that they have
do
determined
you know it's true
within their
because
experiment.
do you know it's true because you feel it with your senses?
No, because others have replicated it, and there's no reason for me to. There's no reason for me to think that these cause and effect and experiments would not produce these measurements.
Exactly. So that's not faith, right?
Right. Cause and effect, experimental.
So that's the difference.
The methodology is there for us to do it and repeat it.
That's the difference.
Which
Look, if you can show this,
of words made you feel the power? Which particular combination of words made you feel the power?
The words, just stuff that Jesus would say, the messages. Let's not get into it now, Chris. But you know,
why not?
Well, we're not really getting to a religious
Because I'm trying to understand why a particular combination of words that Jesus said made you feel the power, but that a particular combination of words in a scientific paper doesn't evoke the same emotions or reaction. Why would that
Chris,
be?
They resonate. They feel.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why this combination of words in the
Exactly.
Bible
So exactly,
such
Chris.
a strong.
That's the point. That's the point.
Attachment to
You're
the
right.
words that have been
This is
spoken.
the point. This is the point. It's like
But
why?
even a similar combination of words in a scientific paper evoke no such emotions or reaction whatsoever. I mean, I'm trying to understand why that would be.
Well, I'm saying that's the difference between Bio's paper and the religious papers. Is that there should be no
but what I'm saying is the words in the paper could be extremely similar, right? They could be extremely similar words and an extremely similar combination of words, but because one's spoken by Jesus, as far as you're concerned, you suddenly put more stock in it. I mean, I don't get it.
What? So a science paper versus a religious paper? You're saying the same thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, not the science paper and the religious paper specifically, but just the combination of words that seem to.
No, you're not making any sense. Again, So science is about.
No, I'm trying to understand.
No, because it doesn't
Kimo.
make any sense what you're saying. Science is about experiments, not just words on the paper.
No, but you're saying that the Bible, though, is about the words on the paper, though, right?
Yeah, it's about visions and dreams and prophecies and all that kind of stuff. And miracles. Understand? So I have to have
And
faith
what
that
about that
Jesus
do you
walked on
find
water.
so compelling and
I can't repeat
truthful?
Jesus
I mean,
walking on water, can I? But he can repeat
but
his
didn't you just say that
experiment.
magic isn't a real thing?
Oh
I mean,
my
don't
gosh,
you have to
Chris,
then...
listen. I can't repeat the stuff in the
What?
Bible. I can't repeat the stuff in the Bible, but he can repeat the stuff on his paper, supposedly, allegedly. Now he's going to try and test that out. Otherwise, if he can't repeat it, it's the same as the religious book. You get it now?
Right, but you were saying you're not going to believe this paper it's written by someone who's actually, confirmed it to exist. Doesn't involve any magic.
Jesus was
something you
probably
rejected not 5 minutes ago.
Chris,
that magic isn't a real thing. Versus your Bible, which has to use magic, is supposedly written by a being that we cannot confirm exists. It involves a character that you also cannot confirm exists, but you believe it.
I don't even get what you're on about, Chris. I don't get what you mean. One is miracles. One is miracles, which is not. Can't repeat just like that every time, every minute. Science, you're supposed to be able to repeat every minute, every second, right?
I'll get to it. Here's the point, Chris. Kimo's too humble to say it himself. Kimo is tuned to resonate with the supernatural.
All right, okay.
This is the difference.
Most religious people do resonate with the higher consciousness and stuff like that. And we can't explain it. It's just a feeling. Don't need to talk about that. Because we can't test it, but what we can talk about is BioJules' paper. Now, is that the same where he just believes something can happen, or can he replicate it?
Feels for truth.
Dude,
feels for truth.
That's with faith. Faith.
Okay, well, let's do some science. We'll start with baby steps. Get a hold of a digital tape measure, laser rangefinder, whatever. Go down to that store, the one I'm talking about, Kimo. And from various distances, shoot the tape and get your readings for the distance to that gimp suit that you want next.
Yeah.
And compare that to reality. Measure it out and see how accurate it is. That's step one.
Okay.
Can you do this?
Yeah, of course. We can do it because we can do it, right?
But will you do it?
We will because we can will, yes?
Kimo will measure to the gimp suit.
We will measure the gimp suit just because we can measure to the gimp suit. Just because, right, Curved?
It's a good start.
There you go.
It would be a great move in good faith there if you were to actually
no
do this
actual
this
practical
weekend.
experiment just because,
video.
remember? Nothing in reality, Curved. We do it just because we can do it.
Why do you
no,
do
it's
that,
practical.
No, you said you don't need to do it. No. We don't do experiments.
You're validating the tool.
You don't need to do experiments. What experiments do you need to do? You don't do that stuff.
No, you, Kimo. You need to do experiments. Your method requires you to do experiments.
Yes, but you
I'm
don't
exempt
need
from
that.
your method.
You don't need
I don't
that.
suck you in dick. I don't have to do that. I don't need his approval.
We know you don't need it because you know.
That's not what I said, and that's not why I know.
Yes, you know because you know.
But I do know. So let that sit with you and see how you like it.
It has sat with me.
You know I know.
Everything you do is because you do.
No. You're still attributing the wrong cause.
Well, and then it's no because of no. Just because no. Because you said so. No, because
burns you up.
There was no because you said so, right?
No, because you know that I know. And that's what bothers you the most.
Yeah, it bothers me because it bothers me. Just because you said so, yeah?
Let your feelings be the judge, Kimo.
Just because my feelings will be the judge, yeah? That's how you like it. Just because my feelings will be the judge.
Tell me you don't feel it.
Because I don't feel it? Just because I don't feel it? What's the problem?
Nah, I think you do, Kimo.
Well, I do because I do.
There you go.
That's it. There I go because there I go. Try to remember who you're dealing with, Curved. The levels to these things. Yes? Now, asking me for the definition of force, when you made up your own, because you know, can land you into hot waters.
Wish I could fucking forget.
Around
Dealing with a
here.
happily married man here, Cub. You better be careful.
Oh, Chris, you want to talk about your love life?
Respectable high-class citizen.
No, not for you. Certainly not.
So look, this is what science can do to a man. It can break a man down if they don't apply it in the right way. Which is why I tried to say the transition from globe to flat should be a piece. Now, obviously, we're all relying on bio here. You just can't talk about buoyancy.
No one's relying on me.
You can't talk about buoyancy. You can't talk about gravity unless bio here has a demonstration. First
in
man.
In a sense, that is correct. That the transition from globe to flat is peaceful, as in you take pieces of reality and you just deny them.
No, not quite.
It's probably easier to be ignorant about things and transition to the ignorant side of the point of view.
These
but
guys,
it's more difficult to
when
actually
the globe
understand.
Earth is disproven for the final time, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, guys, we were just kidding. We knew it was."
When you disprove it for the first time, let me know.
Well, it hasn't been proven for one time.
So which leg are you going to stand on? That it's been disproven many times, or that it hasn't been proven? Which one are you going to stand on?
Well, the fact that it hasn't been proven is the proof that it's not real.
Yeah, but you said for the final, when it's been disproven for the final time. So when was it disproven for the first time?
Water doesn't curve.
Water doesn't curve? You really want to stand on that one?
I do. And water tension different.
Ooh, so you're going to specify when forces and properties are in play and not in play?
I can't believe you're going to bring up the meniscus.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to bring that up. I was going to bring up the chamber, can't remember. I'll show you a picture. But yeah, it has to do with the surface tension, pressure, stuff like that.
I would like to see it.
Can't remember what it was called. We just talked about it the other day.
You're going to be a star, BioDuel, if you, just like on the levels of Soundly, provide this experiment here. Okay, bigger than Blue, bigger than anyone, because no one has shown this in a vacuum with all the variables accounted for. Say, you're able to show mass attracted mass side of a vacuum. Unbelievable.
It's not unbelievable. You think it's unbelievable.
Bio, can you explain that photo you posted?
No, I think I slightly missed the aim of the topic.
All right.
Yeah, I think I provided a water level thing rather than a water curving thing, so that's my mistake. I'm doing like 4 things right now, so I kind of maybe I'll get off.
Let me explain. Before
why isn't all that water finding its level? It's all connected.
Bio, before Soundly came on the scene.
There is no atmospheric pressure, right, Kimo? That can't explain it.
We were about 2-3 years.
What explanation do you have, Kimo?
We were about 2-3 years into flat Earth Bio, and all we would ask for, the only thing we would ask for is, where's the curvature? Like, you'd have hated it. Every time we spoke to a globe, where's the curvature? Where's the curvature? Right?
Kimo has no explanation.
So, a couple of years passed.
No, of course he doesn't.
2 or 3 years passed, and then
out
of the blue, Soundly shows up. He's like, "Look, guys, curvature," and everyone was like, "Whoa, what's this here? What are we looking at?" So everyone went out and tested it, and obviously showing that Soundly didn't know what he was talking about, but he was the first person.
Can you provide the sources and measurements for the things that disproved Soundly's measurements?
It was all years ago, but the point is that he was the first person.
No, you just made the claim. You made the claim because I do use Soundly's measurements in my arguments, and I haven't seen anything to rebut them. So I'm very interested in these rebuttal measurements.
Yeah, we can get into that. I wasn't looking for an argument. My point is that before.
But I don't care what you were looking for. You found it.
Yeah, but the point was before that we were asking. So like now we're asking you guys, where's mass attracting mass? That's all we're asking for. Yeah, we're all asking you for this attraction. Yeah. So, no one had produced it until, like the curvature, until Soundly. Soundly produced it, and then he ran it for about a year, maybe a year and a half, until he got debunked. And now you don't see him anymore. So, hopefully with you, you actually show this with the right variables accounted for, and you will be known as one of the top globe earthers in the scene.
No, I won't. This is what's going to happen. This is exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to set up this chamber, and I'm going to make the announcement here, and I'm going to make sure that you're able to see it. And it's going to be live streamed for many hours. And I'm going to do many different things to it, like turn my fan on. That's going to be right above the chamber, and we're going to see what effect that has. I'm going to jump around the room. We're going to see what effect that has. I'm going to do a very number of things, and it's going to be done many, many times, and you're going to see the cause and effect. And then we're going to move on because I'm just confirming what we already know within science.
Stop panicking,
it's nothing new.
dude.
It's
Stop
nothing
panicking.
amazing. It's not magic. It's nothing, Kimo.
All right.
It's confirming what we already know.
Yes, stop panicking. Just show the observation in a vacuum chamber, and that's it. We move on.
Yeah, I think you're making a bigger deal out of this than I am.
let me tell
I think
ya-
you're worried because you will have nothing to back into after
Oh
this.
my gosh! But let me tell you, your video will be the most popular Globe video if you're successful. Like in terms of
won't.
evidence, it will be.
I'm not going to upload it.
Well, I'm saying
gonna-
it. Get
I'm
ready
gonna
for
show
the
it here.
fame. Get ready for the fame. Get ready for the notoriety, and everybody
there
will
won't
be
be
like,
any.
"Well, you watch." People will like, "Who's this guy that's just shown this mass, attractive mass?"
No.
And we'll be
No one
like,
will care.
"Ah, this." Yeah, I know now you're no one, and you're just a dude coming up. But if you get this done, everything changes for you.
Nothing changes, Kimo. As I
Well-
just said,
well,
nothing amazing about this. It's confirming what we
So
already
listen to me
know.
then. Listen. Before Soundly, was curvature already proven?
Yes.
Okay, so before Soundly, was curvature already shown?
Yes.
Right, yes, exactly. So why did Sally need to come along and show something that was already done? Because no one had ever seen real curvature in like how Sally did it. Now, no one's ever seen...
Are you saying that he could be as famous and popular as Soundly?
On Soundy level.
No way.
On Soundy's level,
How many?
yeah.
How often does he do autograph sessions?
Soundy level, yeah. Notoriety.
Does he get all the bitches?
Notoriety.
That is.
But let me tell you,
I can't be waiting. I can't wait to be, swimming in pussy.
If you're able to show mass attracting mass without the atmosphere causing it, I tell you, you're going to be huge.
Well, I've already shown that, Kimo. So.
Oh, Blue, you've already shown it
And Kimo,
outside. That's just
if it was shown, you're just going to say there was no vacuum. You can't measure pressure. There's no pressure. And then you'll say, what about the magnets? You use magnets. You
No,
you
no,
blew
that's
on it.
dishonest.
There'll be a million excuses you'll come up with, Kimo. You'll never accept it. Never in a
No, but
million
think
years.
about it. Hold on.
Going to the trouble of doing this to... Hold on, I'm not done. Nearly done. To fucking to appease your fucking demands that you make on a whim is fucking retarded. I think doing this is a waste of time.
I
a
think
waste
so.
of
He's not
money,
going
a
to
waste
show
of
it.
effort.
I don't think you should bother because
And
no one's
Kimo's
done it
just gonna
before.
fucking deny it.
No one can do
You're
it.
exactly right. I'm not going to accept any of this. It won't make any difference.
How can it not be?
That's right.
Well, again,
difference what you do.
we
Most
know.
just not going to accept it.
Oh, well, again, we
Don't
know.
say
It's
no.
not about not accepting it.
It goes-
No one's shown it.
The Bible doesn't say anything about gravity. Yada.
You don't even have it to dismiss it in the first place. All we've seen on a piece of paper. Oh, Jesus
But
walked
you
on
just
water.
demanded it on a whim, Kimo. It's something you've demanded on a whim, and then you ran with it. That's all.
No.
Just because you've not been able, nobody's been able to show you it. That's why you keep demanding it. But
yes,
it was just like a day, just like a night, just like this, Kimo.
No.
Where you come up with it on a whim.
No. Yes. So look, what the idea
Yes.
is.
I was fucking here for it, Kimo.
No.
For 2 years.
Oh. So look, because we understand science and variables, because we understand cause and effect, if he shows that the balls are moving outside of the vacuum, we know the cause. The cause is the atmosphere. Unless he manipulates that variable and removes it, and it still moves, well then what else can we say? Fairies did it?
That's the problem, though, Kimo, is that you don't have to remove the variable. All you need is the pressure deviation to be controlled.
It's not
and the way
science.
that you do that is by bringing it to equilibrium.
It's not
Because if it was the air pressure, then the torch malice would never be able to come to equilibrium because the air pressure and the air around it is causing it to move. So when it comes to equilibrium and it doesn't move, we know that the air has no effect on its motion.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but
No,
you're just
you-
calculating something here,
Look,
and that
let's
is not
look at
science.
one second, guys. You might
So look, I know
point
what
out one thing to you. Gas pressure doesn't make any goddamn difference. You're talking about the movement of air. Slight air currents would be the thing that would cause a problem. You got
Right.
Yeah.
circulating air currents inside the enclosure, then you've got an issue.
Right, pressure
It is not
deviation,
the
and you'll know that you have an
movement
issue.
of the air.
Right.
Look, again, this is just so simple. The thing moves. Why? There's a
Yeah, it is
cause.
simple for anybody that knows what they're talking about, Kimo. You don't know what you're
Well,
talking
any
about. That's the
calculations,
problem.
any calculations you're making are not required. There's a variable. Manipulate it. End of. That's it. You telling me, oh, well, I calculated for the equalization of pressure, blah, 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 blah. No, there's no
No,
measurement.
you don't calculate for that, Kimo. This is another inherent part of your claim.
There's no measurements involved. You're taking the sole variable. You're taking the sole variable, the independent variable. You're showing that this independent variable is the cause, the sole cause. So you're going to show, in this case, it's just mass, nothing else. Not magnets, not electricity, not atmosphere, not you blowing it, not you kicking it, not a remote control, but the actual mass itself is causing the attraction. That's what you need to show.
Yep.
No,
Exactly
you didn't do that, Blue. You didn't do that, Blue. You had a variable. Go on.
I'm making a score right now as we speak. You want to see it?
No, again, Bio's going to show the variable that is accounted for. He's going to remove it, and still the balls in his mind will still move.
Kimo, but air pressure has been accounted for when you bring it to equilibrium. That's exactly how you account for it, and
how did you account for it? All right, tell me. How did you account for it?
You bring it to equilibrium.
How
so
did
we
you
know
do that? How did you do that?
So no, keep interrupting me. When I'm explaining it, I want you to ask me to explain it.
Yeah. How did you get it to equilibrium?
Yeah. So ask me again. While I start explaining it, ask me to explain it again.
Well, go on then. I'm listening.
Are you? Or are you talking over me?
How did you get the temperature to equilibrium, or the pressure, sorry, to equilibrium?
So you don't require the pressure to be equilibrium. You require the pressure to not cause the motion. And to ensure and confirm this, you allowed the torsion balance to come to equilibrium. Because if the air or the air pressure, if all of that was causing motion, it would never find a standstill equilibrium. Would you agree to that principle or not?
No. How did you get it to this stage where it stopped moving, it was completely equilibrium? How did you do it?
I didn't fuck with
Sit
it.
and wait, Kimo. That's all you do. Sit and watch it.
Right, you don't fuck with it. That's how.
Yeah, but it's never just going to be completely still because of the atmosphere.
That's your claim, but it does come to a complete standstill.
How do you know it comes to a complete stop?
You use your eyeballs. I know some people.
Oh my god! You see, again, measurements, dude. Forget all of that.
No, and that's fine. What you can do, if you want precise measurements, I'm just talking about cause and effect.
Forget that. Don't listen to Blue. Put it in the scientific.
If you want precise measurements, you use a laser pointer. You can use a laser pointer attached to the string, and then you can have it go out a distance, and you can have that measurement. When that laser pointer is not deviating, let's just say it's on the wall.
Did Blue do that? Did Blue do that?
No. What I'm saying is, before I'm talking about this laser, I'm talking about cause and effect.
Do what
but
you
you're
just
talking
said.
about measurements. You're talking about measurements right now.
No,
what I'm saying is,
no
this is the
measurements.
easiest way to do that is to set up the laser pointer on the string. So when there's no motion, no lateral motion on the balance on the bottom, that means the laser pointer will not move as well.
Did you do that?
Because you set it up, because you set the laser pointer up looking at, let's say, 15, 20 feet away, it's highly sensitive to that lateral motion. So when that laser pointer does not move anymore, you are extremely precise on a lack of motion.
Did Blue do that? No, he didn't.
Yeah, in fact, I did do that, Kimo. That's what I use. I use the laser. But the laser's not mounted on the balance.
Right, that's what he just said. Look, Blue, just leave it to let the experts.
Shut the fuck up. Surface mirror mounted on the balance beam. The laser reflects off of that. That multiplies the sensitivity by a factor of 2 automatically.
No, again, no measurements. No measurements. You don't need that.
That's a good point too. You can have the laser on the string. You can have the mirror on the string.
And I've got a secondary method of measuring it. I actually measure the movement of the damn torsion beam itself.
Well, if you didn't have the atmosphere there, it wouldn't move at all. Exactly. Now put it in a vacuum, Bio, and where there'll be no movement around. Okay, and the cause, the predicted cause, the predicted cause.
It's not required.
Blue, you're just interrupting the future science here at the moment.
No, Kimo, you're interrupting all hell here. Everything you're interrupting. You interrupted Blue while he was trying to explain the mirror on the balance and then giving a higher sensitivity than my explanation. But you interrupted him so much, I don't even think that you can repeat exactly what he said in his setup.
Blue
That
is
more
talking
precise than
old
my
stuff.
explanation.
You know he's done it
No.
wrong.
His precision is better than mine.
No.
When he brings up the mirror on the string itself, he's adding that same distance from the laser to the mirror, then the mirror away. He's doubling that distance, making it more precise. So what he's saying is better than what I said.
I'm not trying to disrespect Blue or anything like that, but I'm just letting him know that the variable that we're accounting for hasn't been manipulated.
You don't have to manipulate it. You just have to control it.
It's not science.
No. I know you're reverting back to the same old little cut and paste arguments and replies, but you need to use your brain at some point and come up with something better.
No. Stop again. You're not going to use your religious feelings. Remember, that's what I do when I talk to
feelings
God.
here.
When I talk to God, I think and I meditate. But now here, we don't need to do any of that. We're not going to think about this and use our feelings or what we think in our brain. We're going to do science. We're going to manipulate. We're going to repeat. Yes, and you're going to show that the only variable that causes the movement is the mass, not anything else. Okay?
That's been shown in a number of ways.
The only thing I change is the mass, Kimo, and that causes the movement.
No, we've got the air. We've got the atmosphere, and that causes it.
Nothing I do causes any air movement inside that enclosure. It's
you can argue till you're blue in the face, Blue. Blue, you're just going to argue without an experiment. Now look, listen to this. Check this out.
It's been done in a vacuum.
Check this out. With bio.
Started out by doing that. The earliest one I know of was done by the National Bureau of Standards in the 1930s, and then repeated in the early 1940s. Done in a vacuum, Kimo. I've shown you the damn paper.
Sure. Now you see what we're doing. We're arguing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. With bio, this cannot happen. This just ends it. I cannot go, well, this is a variable. This, and you'll go, oh, none of that happens anymore. Bio's like, bang, there's the movement. You tell me now what the cause is, and I'm going to be like,
you know that I'm going to clip this, right?
Lying is because you know that's what you're
doing. This won't happen next month when Bio produces the experiment.
Kimo, you know I'm right now going to clip what you just said, right?
What's that? Go on.
What did he say?
About this vacuum cabinet, there will never be a response from flat earthers again.
No, I'm saying for me, this is not going to happen at what Blue's doing right now.
No, you said we. You said we. You said us. You're talking about flat
earthers. Well, whatever. What my point is that me and Blue, we. So me and Blue.
Right now.
Yeah, me and Blue. It's two people. So me and you, Blue, we will never go through this again. This kind of argument could never ever happen. This back and forth, because Bio will have all of the variables accounted for, and he'll be able to put egg in the face of anyone who says that mass does not attract mass.
More variable, you know what you're going to do. You're just going to come up with some more
bullshit. Your stress levels are all high. Why?
Because what you're saying is false, because Blue has also done all that. He's accounted for all the variables, and he's done precisely.
So why are you bother doing yours then? Why are you doing yours? Why are you doing yours?
There's literally no difference from cause and effect. There's literally no difference between doing it in a pressurized environment like our atmosphere and doing it in a vacuum chamber or doing it in a chamber of our atmosphere. There's no differences so long as it finds equilibrium. Then you introduce mass, there's motion. You take away the mass, there's motion again and finds equilibrium at its original spot. There's no difference in the environment that you're doing so long as it finds an equilibrium.
Yeah. Okay, so again, that's up to you. If you want to go down your thinking path and what I think is the case and my feels, that's up to you. But if you want to show, let me finish now. I'll let you finish.
No,
I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish.
No, you keep interrupting everybody.
I just let you finish just now.
I appreciate that. That 1 out of 10.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
So, now I forgot my point. But the point is, unless you can show this, we're just going to argue. We're going to argue all day long. Arguing. Like Blue wants to argue about variables. You're going to show that all you can say I've accounted for all variables: magnetism, electricity, atmosphere. Now what, Kimo? Now what? And I'll be like, well, I don't know. We've got this attraction, so.
Would you acknowledge gravity, mass attracting mass at that point? Would you?
That's it. What else can I say? Yeah, you got mass attraction.
No. I want a yes or no. At that point, once
you can call it gravity.
Once it's done, once you see it,
can label
once
it.
You see the cause and once you see the cause and effect, and once you're shown how things are accounted for, at that point, will you acknowledge mass attracts mass?
Yeah, mass attraction. You can call it gravity if you want, but we will observe. You're not getting it. I don't see what the hype or the excitement is. If you
please answer my question, Kimo.
What is the big deal, dude? Show mass attracting mass without
Right. What I'm saying is, I'm asking you, at that point, would you acknowledge mass attracts mass?
Absolutely, because I can't think of another cause.
That's what I clipped.
Yes, I just said yes.
But that's
Absolutely,
what I
yes,
clipped.
yes.
That's what I clipped for an audio. That's
Yes,
what I clipped.
clip it. Yes, clip it. Yes, absolutely. Because right now, if we come up with the cause, and you can say, well, it's not electricity.
Man enough to admit who you are, buddy. Come on.
Bayer, let's think about this. Bayer, let's think.
We know that.
You're getting too excited because it's not that big of a deal. Let's think about this. If we know it's not electricity, we rule that out. It's not electricity. We know it's not magnetism. We rule it out. Right now, it's either the atmosphere or this gravitational mass attraction thing. That's what it is, either or. You've got to show that you controlled one by removing that cause, and we still have that effect. Again, what's the big deal? Show it, and then what else can we say? Fairies did it? Magic? No. That'd be silly.
Well, I'm going to deafen the channel so I can clip that, so I'll be right back.
Clip it. Like I say, you need to show it. You got to show that. No one's ever shown that. Ever, never, nowhere. Bio.
Yes, all the time it's been
never,
shown,
ever,
Kimo,
never shown
over
that.
and over and over again.
Blue, you've shown just the the school way or something, where they just say, kids, look, this is what it's supposed
I'm used to professionals, Kimo, not jackasses like you. I'm used to people that wouldn't dare lie about experiments
because look, that is like a layman's, like just to show
their livelihoods at stake when they do these sorts of things, Kimo.
That's just
I'm
to
talking
show
about
children.
not some jackleg dipshit on YouTube like you.
No, well, again, that's just to show children the principle. Look, kids, this is what is supposed to happen. Now, the teacher doesn't obviously say the variables. It just says, look, this is what's supposed to happen, like a mini rocket in their hand going, look, it's flying around in my hand. But a real scientific experiment would require the variables to be accounted for, Blue, which is what Bio's doing.
National Bureau of Standards make up things.
No, forget all of that. We're doing a real-time experiment where the variables are really counted for, Blue.
National Bureau of Standards doesn't just make up things.
Okay. Well, hopefully, like I say, Bio, performs this, is successful, gives you guys a leg to stand on. Right now, you have no experiments, no demonstrations.
People waste their time, Kimo. That's the only game you're playing. You know it, and I know it.
Blue, we know the cause to your effect. That's it.
Or a waste of my time, Kimo.
We know the
Kimo,
cause.
are you holding an ace up your sleeve?
No. If you can provide Cavendish in a vacuum, what else is the cause other than the mass attracting the mass?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
What?
Because this variable was not accounted for, and it cannot be controlled for. When he shows this motion,
strong enough,
you are going to attribute it to
what?
The allspark.
The allspark? What is it? Again, fairies. Exactly, Boy. You hear that?
The allspark.
Exactly. If he's going to make up things, he's got to show that the fairies caused it. Bio, you're going to love this, Bio. This is how science works. Nobody can just make up a random variable without showing that there is that thing for a start.
I just did.
So you get it, Bio.
He did give you something. He gave you the allspark.
I just.
We're learning. I'm going to learn lots from it.
You don't know about the allspark?
I know the
If you're
almanac.
smart, you'll play that card, Kimo.
I know the almanac.
Does Kimo, do you not know about the allspark?
You're not going to claim ether, are you, Spurs?
No, what is it?
It's
I don't know.
Powerful Cybertronian artifact.
Pretty common claim within Flat Earth.
Probably works like the allspark, I'd say, at a guess.
But again,
you could.
Where's their Bio? Yeah, Bio. You've heard people say it's magnetism, and you've said, well, no, we've used lead balls. So you accounted for that variable. Fair enough. You've heard people say electricity. You've accounted.
I'm not sure why you're commenting me. But,
No. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying that people who talk about Cavendish, the opposition will say, well, it's magnets. And then you'll say, well, it's not not you specifically, but they'll say it's not magnets because we accounted for that. It's not electricity, we accounted for that. So obviously, when you account for the atmosphere, the air, and you see the attraction, what other variable can you think is called other than mass attracting mass? What else?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't go through that many variables because I understand the principle. I understand what gravity is. I understand mass attracting mass, so I wouldn't have to go through all those other variables. The question is, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go with your next variable?
Well, again, like Curve tried to make up stuff, we can't just do that.
Yeah, could it be temperature, Kimo?
You're
Yeah, why do
saying
you
the
guys like to make up
allspark is
stuff?
made up?
That isn't made up.
Don't let
What
Demok
about-
hear you say that.
You can come up with a million things.
Well, I don't know what it
about
is.
temperature? It may be
Okay, if the allspark is not real, how did Optimus Prime come back to life?
Let's bring in percent here. Percent. What do you think about mass? How would they demonstrate in your mind? How would you be satisfied with mass attracting mass? I don't know if you're here or not here. Here? Check one.
I asked the question, Kimo. What about temperature?
Again, that will be eliminated with the pressure on the vacuum.
No.
Can I ask
you're so
Bio
funny.
a question? Hey, Bio?
Yes, sir.
Will you be doing your Cavendish in a Faraday cage in a vacuum?
Unfortunately, not.
Well,
that
what's
might
the
be a
point?
problem.
It could be. That could be the next variable.
So just get it done, and like I say, you have something to talk about. But right now, it's just eye in the
Have
sky.
you ever done? You ever done an experiment, Kimo?
Yes.
He's doing one. He's doing one right now, I believe.
In something other than an egg in salt water.
Well,
That's not an
again,
experiment.
we explain why things disappear bottom first.
So, what was your independent variable in your experiment?
Yeah.
The lensing.
That worked.
The lensing. So, what did you change?
The lensing.
Okay, so what did you change? That's
The
just
lens.
a concept. Right
If you remove the lens, you don't have that effect.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, that was pretty warranted.
If you get the lens,
So,
you add the lens, you
we
have
take
that
the lens
effect.
away, things don't disappear from the bottom. Is that right?
Sorry.
You take the lens away, then things don't disappear bottom first. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So things will just get smaller and smaller and disappear.
Kimo, have you ever actually tried that?
Mountains, things like that.
Yeah, so for
Wow.
example, the mountains wouldn't be magnified and brought down towards the horizon. Yeah, that's correct. And you would
but
see the
not-
bottom.
Oh.
Yeah, you see the bottom. And again, we only know this because you can experiment with it.
Hold on,
But
Kimo.
mountains are not magnified.
The mountains
problem.
are. So if you see the mountain cut off, the mountain has been magnified and brought towards the horizon. It's like the black swan image.
So that depends on your lens that you're using. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry?
So your personal lens is what's causing that?
Your personal lens.
Right, because your independent variable is your lens that you're manipulating. So what I'm saying is, if I use a different lens than you, are we going to get different effects on what we see at the horizon?
What kind of lens?
I don't know. That's a question that we're asking you. It's your experiment, right?
Use a magnifying glass. Like this. Yeah.
Just okay. So we don't need a camera. We just need a magnifying glass, like what the ones I burn ants with. I use that, and then I can see all the way to the horizon. Ships disappearing bottom up.
No, you can replicate what you see in nature.
Oh, are you talking about your experiment that you don't have a horizon for, but you say things disappear bottom up from the horizon, but in your observation experiment there is no horizon present?
Yeah, because on a flat Earth you don't have a physical horizon.
Right, so super flawed experiment because you within your hypothesis is a horizon. Within your experiment there is no horizon. Flawed experiment, we can dismiss it.
Yeah, but the horizon's not physical on a flat.
Not to mention, just the experiment for it to be applied to humanity would require carte blanche that the atmosphere is shaped and has the properties of that exact sort of lens.
No, but on a flat Earth, we don't have a physical horizon.
Yeah, I don't think we have a physical lens.
When you say there's no physical horizon, all you're saying is that there is refraction. That's all you're saying. There is still a physical water that causes a horizon.
Well, to say there's refraction, again, that's presupposing, that's part of your hypothesis.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because you haven't tested it.
Yeah, I know there's refraction because, well, how do you explain looming if it's not refraction?
Lensing, I've just told you.
How does lensing cause looming?
So it's just distortion.
Can you give more than a one-word explanation?
He can't go further than that.
Well, that's what's happened. That's the effect.
No. How?
Very simple, because flat earthers are very, very simple people. They don't, think beyond a single word. They don't explore beyond that.
Well, if you only need one word to explain it, why do you have to dilute it?
No, because the one word is not enough.
Kimo, how do you explain looming if
Anyway, I'm
refraction
having a
is
break
not
now.
happening?
Time's up. Having a break.
Okay.
Job, if a one-word response is all that's sufficient, then I will just respond with science from now on. Would that be sufficient for you?
No, because
Ah, right, yeah.
that's a false analogy. That's why.
No, I'm using one word, and you said one-word explanations are fine, or you implied that anyway.
But science is different because okay, so if I ask you what's 2 + 2 and you say 4, that's not sufficient. Because there's only a one-word response.
The answer is science, Bon Jovi.
Yeah, 2 + 2 is science.
Sounds like hypocrisy to me.
Yeah, I would just use science to explain what the answer is. So instead of giving a long, convoluted explanation, I'll just say science, and I hope you accept that.
I can't believe it.